Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of NASCAR Heat for Career Mode. I hope you're all having a great day today. We go truck racing, Xfinity Series racing, and Cup Series racing, as well as we go to a road course for the first time this season in the Cup Series. But first up, we have the Truck Series at Texas Motor Speedway, where we had our Cup Series teammate of Kurt Busch in the truck. Texas is usually a little bit of a rough race for us in pretty much every series, the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Cup Series, so we didn't have very high hopes coming into this one, but I was still confident that maybe we would have something here. And Kurt qualified a little bit outside the top 10. He started on this outside lane, so he already had his work cut out for him as he went down towards turns 1 and the outside of the 4 of Todd Gilliland, who had gotten clear of him as they came through the center of the corner. But Kurt getting aggressive right off the bat, going 3 wide up the middle through turns 2 as they went down this back straightaway on this first and opening lap here at Texas Motor Speedway. And he was just kind of getting his way to the bottom lane. Sure enough, he got down to the bottom and made some 3 wide moves there as they came through turns 3 and 4. So all of a sudden, we have some speed here in the truck at Texas, which was a bit of a surprise to me. I felt like, though, if we're going to run really good at Texas ever, it's going to actually be in the Truck Series. This is where we were able to perform myself when I did the season in trucks a while back, and Kurt had moved himself inside the top 10 a little bit later in this race, as it was the 16 of Austin Hill leading. I want to say Brett Moffitt every time I see the 16 truck, but I know that is Austin Hill, as Kurt Busch, though, went down this back straightaway, continuing to move his way forwards as we came through right now to the final lap here in Texas, getting a little bit of contact there from the 5 of Dylan Lupton as it came through turns 1 and 2. So Kurt moves up the track, loses a position on this final lap of the race here in Texas as he goes down the back straightaway for the final time down into turns 3. So Lupton moving his way through the field pretty quickly as they come through turns 3 and out of turns 4 for the final time. It's going to be Austin Hill coming through to win here in Texas, as Kurt Busch, though, is still going to get us a very solid finish here in Texas with P5, so can't complain as our truck team has been running really strong this season. The Xfinity team has been running fairly decent, strong. We got a win, obviously, in Xfinity, so we come through, though, into the Xfinity Series race, where we had subscriber Gordon Truman in the car as we were getting ready to go green here in Iowa. Ross Chastain still one of our Xfinity Series rivals, so keep that in mind. We have to watch out for him every time we come into an Xfinity Series race. But unfortunately, we actually had to start at the back here after failing technical inspection. So Gordon Truman at the back of the field. Iowa is, in my opinion, the hardest track on the Xfinity Series schedule to actually run against the AI. The track itself, not hard at all, but the AI is so powerful at a track like Iowa here in the Xfinity Series that I didn't have very high expectations. I know if we're going to have a rough race in the season, it's going to be at Iowa, and sure enough, it started off pretty rough, starting at the back of the field for Truman as he went down towards turns 1. There you can see the smoke pouring out of the car because he actually made contact with a few drivers ahead of him, like Tommy Joe Martins, as he came through now into turn 3 a little bit later in the race. So he had moved his way forwards. There was no caution for that little incident there, as our rival of Ross Chastain, I think that was, had run Truman down as he went down towards turns 1. That might not actually be Chastain, but every car on that team looks the exact same except the number now as he came through turns 1 and turns 2, but he was actually holding his ground pretty well. We come through now to the final lap, though, here in Iowa, still running just in front of that red car behind him as he came through turns 1 and 2 for the final time. He had actually experimented a little bit running up on that higher lane through turns 1 and 2, and it seemed to be working out quite well for him as it goes down, though, into turns 3 and turns 4 for the final time here at Iowa. Truman out of turns 4 is going to come through to cross the line, and not a very great position. Obviously, like I said, we were going to struggle. It was a P23 finish here. Unfortunately now in Iowa, as the winner was John Hunter Nemechek. Now, as I was pronouncing the last name wrong, it's Turman, not Truman. But now we come through to myself here in the Cup Series for the first road course race of the season. Always looking forward to road course racing. We come through into our qualifying effort, heading down into the final hairpin here, just trying to get the best position possible. Obviously, road courses in this game, very, very weird, but I still enjoy my road racing. So we come through now in our qualifying attempt. We're going to obliterate the goal, but still don't actually go P1. We hit a P4 with a 131.988, so definitely nothing to be ashamed of, and this is going to set us up very well here for the race with Jamie McMurray on the pole, joined by Chase Elliott.
We're at Sonoma Raceway for the Toyota Save Mart 350. This year, Sonoma has returned to the circuit's historic 12-turn, 2.52-mile road course layout. Well, that means the return of the carousel, which adds a technical aspect to the track that will be a challenge for these drivers. Let's go road course racing.
Alright, thank you, Rick Allen. We're ready to go green here with the Toyota Save Mart 350 at Sonoma Raceway. Bubba Wallace starting at the back of the field after failing pre-race inspection. Eric Jones starting at the back after failing optical scanning station multiple times, as he actually had a very solid qualifying effort, who was actually in P3. So that moves us now up to P3 as the green flag is out for the first time this season. We will go road course racing, and this will be our final race at Sonoma in the NASCAR Heat 4 career mode, obviously with NASCAR Heat 5 coming out a few months earlier. If you did miss the news, this is our final season in the Cup Series for NASCAR Heat 4 career mode before NASCAR Heat 5 releases in July. Now, as we come through these first few corners, getting ahead of Kyle Busch, doing exactly what we need to be doing here. Now, as we go down towards this right-hander, this configuration of Sonoma, I've said it many times, I do not like this configuration of Sonoma at all. I would much rather NASCAR do the version that they were doing a few years back that we were so much used to. Now, as we go down into the carousel, getting a little wheel hopping there as I went down into the corner, but we clear McMurray, who's fading very quickly after starting P1. Chase Elliott and myself run 1-2. Can we run down the 9 of Chase Elliott? Well, we came through now on the final hairpin here on lap 1, and he had actually started to stretch out the gap between himself and I, so I was a little bit concerned because I know we are really strong when it comes to road course racing, but the 9 was driving away here on these opening laps, and we come through now down the S's section on lap 2. We had closed up just a tiny bit on the 9, but I was starting to really struggle with the car right off the bat, so I think it was really just down to me trying to find a rhythm, and I just didn't quite have that rhythm at this point in the race, so I was definitely struggling. Elliott driving away. We come through now to lap 3 of 5. Stage 1 and 2 pretty short here, and Kyle Busch had actually run me down as I get very sideways on the exit of the 90-degree right-hander there, and I'm in the grass a little bit there, dirt flying now as we go down towards the carousel. Elliott driving away already with the stage victory, as I was just struggling so hard, and it really wasn't the car. It was just completely on myself here. I was just, like I said, couldn't quite find the rhythm that I need on the exit of the carousel. We nearly lose it, nearly into the wall, and now the 18 of Kyle Busch pounces on the opportunity. I decided I was actually just going to let him have the position. I didn't want to fight him, so we let him have P2, as I was just not comfortable with myself right now in this car here in Sonoma. So we came through now with 2 laps to go here in stage 1. Kyle Busch actually driving away a little bit, which was building my concern level up a little bit more now, as I didn't know what was wrong. Here we came through to the final lap of the stage, and you can see Kyle had stretched out the gap even more. Elliott driving away with the stage victory. We know Chase Elliott, obviously one of the best road course racers right now in the NASCAR Cup Series here as we come through up the S's. Obviously, he'd go back to his Truck Series days as well, where he got a win in Canada at the road course, and I believe he even might have had an Xfinity win at a road course. I don't know. I was thinking maybe Road America, but I don't think he did at the same time. I can't remember now as we go down towards the carousel, though, for the final time here on this final lap of the stage, as the car kind of slipped out from under me, and we hang on to it, but now we're sliding again through the grass now as we keep it straight somehow and continue once again on our way as we exit the carousel. But there you see Kyle Busch quite a ways ahead now as we come up towards the right-hander, and Chase Elliott has just no competition right now at this point here in this first stage. But on the bright side, it's still very early in this race. I didn't think we really need any adjustments here at the end of the stage, because it's just down to me at this point, just trying to get into a rhythm. You see here through the S's on this kind of final lap of the stage, on the final half of lap, we're all of a sudden starting to get something to click here, because we start to close the gap in on the 18 of Kyle Busch's. Chase Elliott, though, he's already going down into the final corner through the hairpin. As long as he doesn't completely spin out or something, he will win the stage as we go down into the final hairpin here on the final lap of stage 1, and we're going to get a little bit looser on the exit of the corner, but Chase Elliott will come through to win stage 1. Kyle Busch second, and myself in P3. Denny Hamlin having a terrible run right now to his standards. He's down to like 5th place now. He's even worse than 5th, but Ryan Blaney P4. Blaney been running very strong lately. We're going to have to watch out for him. He could very well be inside the playoffs this season. Martin Truex Jr., though, in P5, as we're still waiting on the front 10 to get to the line, which they now have done. So, at the end of stage 1, Denny Hamlin down to P6, but Jamie McMurray rounds out the top 10. No pit stops necessary going into stage 2. Elliott and Kyle Busch on the front row now as the green flag is out, and the second stage is underway here at Sonoma Raceway. We have a lot of Joe Gibbs drivers up in the mix right now. The dominant team so far this season, Denny Hamlin with like 6 wins already, and we're not even really quite at that halfway point of the season yet. Very close to that halfway point now, as obviously the closest driver right now to Denny Hamlin on wins is 1, and that's like 5 or 6 other drivers. So Denny Hamlin dominating right now as we're slipping and sliding there on the exit of the corner. Ryan Blaney pounces on the opportunity, gets up my right-hand side as we exit the right-hander, and we're sideways on the exit of the corner. We get into the 12, and we both go nearly into the grass. Blaney in the grass. We were nearly in it. We thankfully keep out of it, and we keep things going now as we go down towards the carousel. 100% a mistake on my part there, as I just lost the back end of the car, and unfortunately the 12 was on my right-hand side, but thankfully none of us really get any damage out of it. We keep things straight now, as that obviously allowed the 18 and the 9 to pull away and stretch out the gap between themselves and I. Now as we go down towards the right-hander on this first lap of the second stage, but we came through now down into the hairpin. We actually closed up a little bit on the 18 of Kyle Busch, but I was noticing that the AI were so much better on the exit of that final hairpin than I was, and that was one of the corners where I was really losing a lot of time. And this kind of first sector of the track I felt like was really my weakest spot. Now as we come through on lap 2, you can see me just wheeling the car there on the exit of the carousel, but we were actually able to kind of hang with these drivers in front of us. This time there, as we nearly screw up now, as it's really risky to abuse those curbs in those corners. But we come through now on lap 3. We had closed in a little bit more on Kyle Busch, but then on the exit of the carousel, I nearly bent it into the concrete barrier. No safer barrier there. You think they would put a safer barrier there now as we come through once again this little right-hand section. We come through though into the hairpin. We had closed up on them, and then I have another moment. I was being way too throttle happy at this point, so we lost a lot of time. We come through now to the final lap of the second stage. Chase Elliott leading, but Kyle Busch was within a few car lengths of the 9 of Elliott, and at least this time we were able to keep the 9 car within our sights. So we're clearly finding something in the second stage. Still not quite enough, I think, to be a winning driver or winning race car right now as we go down through this right-hander, but unless the 9 makes a mistake, he should be able to hold on to the stage victory fairly well, because under green flag conditions, the AI have a pretty tough time making passes, at least on other AI drivers. They certainly don't have a problem with fully attacking me and driving into the side of me at times. But either way, Chase Elliott, just the road course ringer of NASCAR right now, leads the way on this final lap of the second stage, but would not like the first stage. He had zero pressure in the first stage. This time out, he's got 2 cars within probably half a second or so of him now as we close up a little bit here on the back of the 18, going down towards the S's for the final time. And maybe if we nail these S's, we could have a chance to attack the 18 of Kyle Busch. We get up over the curve there on that left-hander through the right-hander. We get very close, within a car length or so now of the JGR champion of Kyle Busch, the 2-time champion. He is, but through that little right bend there, we lose a little bit of ground, but we gain it back now as we go down towards the final hairpin. But I decided to play it a little bit easy on Kyle as we go down into the final hairpin, giving him a little bit of a bump there as he gets a little bit sideways, but he's going to hang on to it. Chase Elliott, though, will come through to sweep the first 2 stages now as he wins stage 2. Kyle Busch again second, and myself once again in P3. So the same top 3 in stage 1 and 2, except Denny Hamlin has climbed up to P4, and it looks like Ryan Blaney is going to round out the top 5 as we still wait on the front 10 drivers to get to the line, but which looks like Jamie McMurray currently will be in that 10th position there. He's got Alex Bowman up there as well, and P7, Matt DiBenedetto, and P8. Now the 10 cars have crossed the line, so there you see the official stage 2 order. So we would get ready to pit here for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires. The pit crew has an incredible pit stop, puts us in P1 here for the final stage. We're ready to lead the way to the green flag. We are underway here for the 3rd and final stage. Chase Elliott lost 2 positions, so we have an opportunity here. The pit crew this season, I've noticed since we've gone to the 42 team, the pit crew on this team has been next level. They've gotten us in really good positions here to take the lead sometimes with a pit stop, and now here we are getting loose there on the exit of the corner, but we still hold on to P1 here. But keep in mind, this final stage is certainly a lengthy one, so we definitely aren't going to be safe at all. Will we need to make a green flag pit stop? I don't think so. Now as we go a little bit wide there, not really used to leading the field yet today, so I'm having to kind of recalibrate myself in terms of braking zones. I don't really have a car in front of me to keep an eye on now as we go down into the carousel there, getting through here somewhat decently now as we come towards the exit of it. But Chase Elliott falls down to P4 on the restart. He's dominated the race. One little slip up on a pit stop that puts him down 2 positions. He loses a spot on the restart to Denny Hamlin, and now he's going to have to fight his way back forwards. And I was mentioning earlier in stage 2, the AI have a really tough time passing other AI cars on the track here in Sonoma. I think it's just kind of a thing of road courses in this game. Now Zare's actually behind us. We got a car spinning, the 47 of Ryan Preece now, and that's going to bring out a caution on this first and opening lap of the 3rd and final stage here in Sonoma. no pit stop necessary, so we would get ready to go green here once again here in the third and final stage. Now as the green flag is back out, Elliott there, you got to keep an eye on him. He restarts in P4. That's really the driver I'm watching the most, and if he can have a really good restart and climb up into P3 or even maybe slip into P2, then I think we're going to be in a bit of trouble now as we come through the corner. Kyle Busch has a really good exit and he gets right on my right rear, but we stay clear thankfully as we come up the hill here now as we go down through this little right bend towards the 90-degree right-hander up here now. The heavy braking zone down to about 50 miles per hour at this point here as we exit, get a great exit actually, stretch out the gap a little bit between myself and Kyle Busch. So we come through now on the lap 20 still here on the S's. You see how loose I got right there, and that was a big opportunity for Kyle Busch to close, but we actually held on to the gap here. We come through to lap 21. A little bit of a hiccup again for myself. That time wasn't as big as I was certainly starting to struggle though. Kyle Busch on lap 22 had closed the gap back up. Chase Elliott was up to P3, so now we have to at least keep an eye on that 9. A little bit of a concern there now as we come through the right-hander. Kyle Busch within range to make an opportunity or get an opportunity to make a move now as we come through the S's again. A big mistake on my part on lap 22 as we hang on to it again though, and that's going to bring the 18 of Kyle Busch once again right back to my back bumper. Chase Elliott in P3 trying to climb up his way to this battle now as we come through the little right bend, just trying to keep myself from making mistakes, but I kept making mistakes here. We come through on lap 22 through the hairpin. I was so tight, the 18 just drove right on by me, so now we lose the lead on the exit or on the end of lap 22, and Chase Elliott still just behind us as he is closed in on this battle. But we come through on the exit of the carousel on lap 23. The next lap we get an incredible run. Obviously I want to be out front leading this race and have control, so we take the lead back from Kyle Busch now as we go down through the right-hander, going a little bit wide. The 18 is going to pounce on it. He gets to my right rear. We make a little bit of contact. We hang on to it, going a little bit wide off the track, but we keep the car straight. Now as the 18, the 9, and the 11 are all up in the mix now as we come through on lap 24. We had stretched out the gap a little bit again, but then again I get a little bit looser, nearly going into the grass. A loss of momentum, and that's going to allow the drivers behind me to close in. Once again, we come through the hairpin now again on lap 25, and this is where I'm just so much slower than the AI. Kyle Busch closes in to within 3 or 4 car lengths of myself. So now on lap 26, just 5 laps to go, approaching 4 to go, when we hit the line now as we go down towards the right-hander. Kyle Busch close as the car kind of got loose there on braking now as we go down towards the next right-hander. We get up on 2 wheels and we go spinning into the barrier now. Here in Sonoma leading the race, we've completely choked away the victory out of nowhere. One little mistake and our race is over here in Sonoma for at least winning here, as that was one of the biggest chokes I've had in a long time. The radiator was damaged, the front end was severely damaged, the car was driving like trash at this point. I had to let Blaney go for a brief amount of time, but to my surprise, I was able to stick with him. Obviously, disheartened at this point. I was embarrassed with myself. I would actually fight back up the inside of Ryan Blaney, but just knowing at this point the car was destroyed. We come through the S's again, and we get too much curb now as we come through on lap 27, and then I get on the throttle, and the car just completely goes away, and we take Blaney with us into the concrete barrier. The caution is going to come out with 4 laps to go. We would have to come to the pit lane. Our final trip to Sonoma in the NASCAR Heat 4 career mode is not going to end the way we had planned. So very unfortunate. We would have to start at the back of the field for overtime with Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin all up front leading the way now. As I just want to take this time here as we move our way back to the field. I know we got the speed. We could probably still get a top 10 if we're lucky here on these final 2 laps. Now as we get to the side of the 47 there as we came through the corner, but like I said, I just want to take this time to apologize to you guys for just completely choking away the victory. That was 100% on me, not the car. All on me. A mistake on my part. Now as we come through with down through the S's approaching the final lap, everyone was just all clustered together, and that was making it so easy for me to make passes as we come through now, and we're actually back inside the top 10. So if caution comes out again, we might be in great shape, but we come through to the final lap. Chase Elliott had actually taken the lead back over. So after everything went down, Chase Elliott looking like his chances of winning had diminished. Now all of a sudden he is leading on this final lap here in Sonoma now as we come through the hill part for the final time. Like I said, I was definitely really annoyed with myself. It's just a video game, obviously, but still, when you do something like that, you just feel like an idiot. So very disappointed as we make a move nearly on Keselowski. Then we get into the back of him there as we go down towards the carousel, though we should be able to launch up the inside just like that. He has some damage on his front end. There you see Kevin Harvick, our former teammate, as we briefly get into the back of the SHR driver champion as well now as we exit the carousel. So we're going to have a chance to get P7 here at the most because of a 6th place car way too far ahead, and we're going to look up the right-hand side of Harvick as we go down into this right-hander for the final time, and we do indeed move up into P7, but we go a little bit wide. Harvick's going to take one last attack at us, and he actually slides into us, gets sideways, kind of like that move from Kyle Busch earlier, but we hang on to P7 as we go down through the S's for the final time. So disappointed in myself over this one. We had the race almost in control fully, and just one little mistake and the car got up on 2 wheels, and I had zero chance of saving it as we come through this little right bend for the final time, heading down into the final hairpin. Chase Elliott leads out of the final corner just in front of Kyle Busch, and for the first time this season, Chase Elliott is going to come through and win in Sonoma and lock himself into the playoffs here as we come through on this final little left bend, coming to the line to finish in P7 in Sonoma. So, I mean, P7, nothing to be disappointed about, but the way everything went, extremely disappointed in myself, really, after that one. But Denny Hamlin up there in P3, and you know Denny Hamlin's having a really good season when we're looking at him and he finishes P3 and we're like, what in the world happened with the 11 car? He just wasn't on it today. Yeah, sorry guys about what happened there. It was all my fault, and as always, if you guys did enjoy this episode though, you know what to do. And in the next one, we actually go to Chicagoland, I think it is. So a mile and a half, which probably one of my tougher mile and a halves to run well at, so we'll see how it goes in the next one as you see the point standings on your screen here before we end this episode. The Truck Series and Xfinity Series were all running very well, and both of those, as well as we got the Cup Series here. Denny Hamlin, 6 wins in the next one. Closest to him is 1. William Byron, 19 points out. Suarez, our rival, currently the last car in. So I will see you guys, though, in the next one at Chicagoland. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and have yourselves a great day.